Hello and welcome to EBA Tonight, live with my boy, the commish, Texas James Smith.
Yay. Back again. New
How are you
season on the
doing?
way, man.
How are you doing tonight, brother?
Can't wait.
All right.
Cannot wait. Ready to get the season started.
I also have with us tonight a special guest, the one and only Shump is what he's known by, aka Space Jam Shump, I believe, right? On the Space Jam squad.
You got it right. What's
All
up, everybody?
right, Space Jam Shump on the number one pick. We got a lot to talk about, so I want to get to your team and get to everything. But let's jump right in. What I want to discuss right off the bat, I mean, bidding's over. Everybody's excited about bidding. It's over. You know what team you're on. You're kind of looking at the outlay of everything. The guys here at EBA Tonight, we put together a top 10. We're going to start with the preseason rankings. Now, don't take this to heart. If I'm wrong or we're wrong, prove me wrong. Get on the court.
It's
and
still
after week
preseason.
one, yeah, still preseason. So don't get all panties in a bunch here. We're just going to go through and what we feel is the top 10 rank from 10 down to 1. So we're going to start with 10. 10 real quick here in the EBA rankings. We're going to go with what we've discussed and went with is Oklahoma City Thunder. And taking a look at the roster, this is who they've got on it. They have Mantis at 500K, Garbage Assassin at 500K. I always get corrected. Trainer, of course, is the owner. Pink Faucet at 500K. His normal guys. This one I'm a little surprised with. Training Camp was Fig. Space Jam JT at 7.5. Tortuga at 500K. O. Lewis at TC. And Dimes at 4.5, J-Dub at 1 mil, and Chairs at 2 mil. Now, we discussed this a little bit. I'm going to go right to Texas, the commish. We kind of discussed this, and we were fighting to say, okay, who do we think is going to be the worst team in the league? And it was really hard to discuss, but we looked at the rosters, and we kind of fought back and forth. There was really these first 3 or 4, maybe even the first 5 you can kind of toss around a little bit. But why did you feel OKC, looking at this roster, should start at number 10?
Well, I mean, it was very back and forth. There's a lot of talent spread around the league. Very balanced league this season. Very, very competitive season. This is going to be a great season to watch. There's teams with great rosters, users-wise, and then on the bottom tier of teams, and then on the flip side, there's great teams with, some of the lower tier rosters. But it's going to be a great season. But one of the main reasons that I felt that Oklahoma City should be at the bottom is I posted an MVP thing, which I think we're going to talk about a little later.
Yep.
An MVP prediction. I posted JT as playing Russell Westbrook. Well, I've been, vigorously brought up to me that JT was not going to beat Westbrook. And I don't know if Trainer's going to play Westbrook, but
I don't know how you could spend 7.5 and not give him the best player on the team.
I mean,
I don't know how you
I'm
can't
not
do
the
that.
only one thinking that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the main reason that made me go and push these guys down here. Now, if you move things around and put JT in the spot that he deserves to be, and put him at that number 1 spot on the team, give him Russell Westbrook, this team is going to climb tremendously in the rankings. I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks this. The team is going to climb, 2 or 3 ranks easily. Easy. I mean, maybe more, but the man deserves to be on Westbrook. He can do many things and make people better around him. Give the man his spot. Figs on the roster. If he stays available and able to play, they'll climb even more. We'll see what happens, but as of right now, I mean, until that happens, I just see them struggling because one of their lines are going to be held back.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're holding back probably their best line. Dimes is solid. Like, Dimes is a solid guy. Space Jam, or JT, I hate calling him Space Jam, whatever, but JT is known as a solid player, bottom line. When he came back, the big hype of him coming back was, okay, he's not coming back as an owner, so he's not going to get his squad. Are they going to utilize him where they needed to? And I know Trainer was just trying to bid him up and probably got stuck with him. Someone goes, well, not going to pay that much for him. Or maybe Trainer wanted him. I don't know. Maybe they're surprises. This team is really, I think, shaky from what we've heard. That's the only reason they're at that 10 spot. If JT gets given a superstar like he is, which he should be, And then you take someone like Dimes, put on his line, give Dimes, the secondary spot. And then even if Fig decides, hey, I want to play and play full time and get pulled up for 500K out of the training camp, they could be pretty scary. They're definitely moved, I think, 3 or 4 spots just with that in mind, just for putting JT where he belongs. Shump, what do you think about first of all, do you agree that they are probably one of the worst, should be in preseason rankings that's there? And secondly, what do you think needs to happen?
I would probably say right now, if, like you said, if JT is not on the other Westbrook, if JT and Dimes are on both Westbrooks, then they have to be down there as the number 10 team. JT's could be one of the best players in the league, and him being on Oladipo, me coming from an owner, doesn't scare me worrying about 2 lines and JT's not on one of the Westbrooks. I mean, I personally wouldn't pay 7.5 and put him on Klay Thompson. So I don't know why a trainer's doing that, you
Yeah.
know. But like you said, and if another big thing, if Fig's schedule is right and he can actually play big man for them, and maybe, like you said, move JT over to second line with Fig and have both of them on one line, and then Dimes and Chairs. Chairs is a good pro-am player. I haven't really seen him play team up, but he's a great solid player. And if they can get 2 good lines, I mean, you might only have 2 really good players on both lines, but if you can do that, I mean, you can do anything possible, really.
That and I mean
Just from what I'm
the
saying.
two really good players. The 2 really good players would be on Russell Westbrook. I mean, let's keep it real.
Yeah.
It's not like
they have to
you got
be.
2
I mean,
really good players on.
I'm not like I said, I'm not sending somebody to play Klay Thompson. I think I'm one of the better players on my team, and I'm not going to play Klay Thompson for us because I mean that's just not utilizing something right. Like for instance, like you know what I mean. So the best players should not be on role players, and Oladipo is a role player on that Thunder team.
I agree with their schedule upcoming for week 1. And this is just Sunday and Monday, but their upcoming schedule right out the bat, they play New York Knicks, Toronto Raptors, Indiana Pacers all Sunday, and then Monday they play the Golden State Warriors, and then they play the Boston Celtics. So out of those 5, I probably see, depending on what line they send, I probably see maybe 2 wins if they're lucky. And that's against the Pacers and Knicks, or maybe even the Pacers and Celtics, or Celtics and Knicks. There's could be 2 wins in there, depending on what line matches up, but it doesn't look like a solid start with what we have. So moving on, let's go to number 9. Boston is who we have. We have Boston Celtics at number 9. Again, not taking anything away. It's preseason. It's really difficult to go through without any proven record. But this is who they have on their roster. They've got Woody for $1 million, which is a pretty good price for Woody. I think he's worth more than that. King John at 5.5, which I believe he was a keeper, right? He was the GM. No, it wasn't either. They picked King John up, didn't they?
He's in bed.
Yeah, he was in bidding at 5.5. Ray Famous is their TC, which isn't a bad TC. He's got a pretty good open schedule, and he's a good role player. Remix, of course, his owner. LJ, shooting guard TC, which I think is probably one of the stills of TCs this season so far. LJ, I think, is a great TC guy. He can come in and play when he needs to play for you. K-Chip at 500K. Eric Dreadhead at $1 million. E-Money, that was the GM. 6.5. Yep. DL is God, $2 million. Gradient Dig 1 at $1 million. I don't even know who this by any means Mo, $1 million. And Rondo Island 4XX at $1 million. Now Rondo Island, I heard is a good buy at $1 million. I've never played with him, but I do know that he plays on the Island Gang, and they're good pro-am guys. So
all 3 of those dudes are.
Yeah, they're very tough. So I mean, it was kind of more of a question mark is why Boston's close to the bottom here. One, I don't think Boston's strong enough as a 2K team. I think there's teams that are better than them out there still left on the table. And 2 is I just think they're going to struggle with matching up against other 2K teams. I mean, what are your thoughts on this, Shump? I know that you had first pick. It was a no-brainer. But if you found yourself around pick 7 through 10, would Boston even be on your radar? And then secondly, what do you think about the team and the way it's shaped up so far?
Well, first, Boston would have never been picked by me. Just from playing point guard and Isaiah being 6 foot or shorter, that's a very him being your best player and being that tall. It's not a lot you can do with him. But overall, I do think Remix did really good in bidding. DL was a steal at $2 million. I personally was trying to pick him up, and like I said, I messed up my bidding. Those pro-am players, as long as they don't quit, which I don't think any of those three will, because they're all going to be playing together. They're good players, and they play team up, and they can win games. But like you stated, Boston's not a strong team. E-Money is one of the best big men in the league, but Al Horford's not a true big man,
Yeah.
and can get exposed when it comes down to playing against other matchups that are better big men as him. So I mean, it all really depends if they can play as a team and just get good defense going and stuff. I do think you could switch them or OKC as the 10th team. OKC just being their lineups, of course, but Boston just being so overmatched team wise. I would have never picked Boston. I definitely would have went Spurs or Rockets or somebody like that.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, you do think they should be at the bottom with where just based on the team themselves.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah.
I agree with you. I think the roster is not a bad looking roster. You put that same roster on any other
Yeah, you
team, I
put that
think.
roster on any other top team, they win.
Yeah.
That's a winning roster right there that they have. It's just the Celtics aren't a strong team whatsoever.
Yeah, I do think that it's an uphill battle. Texas, I mean, what some of the concerns are? You see the roster laid out here. Some of the concerns are we're getting a lot of increase of pro-am guys, and this team has three right off the bat that I've heard of, but I've never seen play in EBA. Do you feel that if these guys see a lot of struggle up front, that they're going to back out, which is known for some pro-am guys to do? Like, oh, I'm done. I can't. I'm not gonna just sit here and take an L. I mean, do you feel that with these guys, or do you think these guys will stick it out? I mean, what are your thoughts first on the roster, and then secondly, my question?
Well, roster wise, going to just on putting them at 9. Um, I mean, y'all gotta remember that they had an opportunity to take the number 1 pick in the league. They had Golden State in their hands, and they passed it up to fall all the way back here to 9. They traded with our guest here, and they traded all the way back to take the Celtics. I mean, that blows my mind. But the roster, as from what I've heard, I mean, obviously King John's a good player. Woody's a good player. Then you got Ray Famous. He's nice. Eric Dreadhead. He's defensive elite, savage.
Yes.
Man, the man's a killer on the defensive side of the ball. E Money is one of the better big men in the league. I know I'm just repeating everything Shump just said, but I mean, their roster wise is great, man. And you couldn't any other team. These guys would be a top 4 in the power rankings if they'd have taken any other team that was available. Spurs, Rockets, whatever. But being this team, it's gonna be hard coming from Pro-Am to the Celtics, man. I don't see the blend. And as for your other one, I feel like the reason why the Pro-Am guys quit last is they have something to fall back to. And when they can't hack it and they can't do fucking 360 dunks and jam on everybody and stroke threes from the half court at will, then they get frustrated because, they can't hack it. They can't hack a real 5-on-5. But, I mean, it's just something this league's always going to have to deal with. It's something we're always going to have to put up with. It's something the owners are always going to have to put up with. But, I mean, like, guys like Remix, they know who they're bidding on when they get these guys. So it's just something that Remix is gonna have to do. And I mean, obviously he knew these guys because a lot of these guys I've never seen before. So he had to know them previously. So I mean, hopefully something can happen, but I just don't see it happening with Boston at all.
Yeah, their first 5 games are Memphis, Portland, Los Angeles, New York, and Oklahoma City. So if we have the rankings wrong, which every one of those teams other than OKC, the last game is ranked above them in our rankings, then I mean that the first 5 games is where they're going to prove it at. With Grizzlies, Trailblazers, Clippers, Knicks, and Thunder, right there, top 5 games, which I don't think they have a too easy schedule out of the gate. But moving on to number 8, we're going to talk number 8. It's the New York Knicks we have here at number 8. And their roster is Outtaker at center of mill, Return of the King at 5.5, Cuban on Xbox is TC, Hayden Land owner, the Money Team at 1.5, Insane Legend at 2.5, Crash at 500K, GMB 517 Stunna at 500K, Test owner 6 is a testing. I think Mags might have been testing something to make sure owners are getting placed right or whatever. So ignore he's not on the roster. That's not Mag's second account or anything. Gifted Terror at 500K. Yes sir, 1984. Is another TC, and Army Vet Steve 91 and Aita 22 at 500K. Now there's a couple names I don't know on here. Maybe that's my ignorance to put them where they're at, and maybe that's me just sleeping on them. But looking here, other than Return of the King, and for 5.5, I played against him as small forward. I would say he's probably one of the better. Because I feel with New York, playing small forward is it's just difficult. It's difficult for that team. He doesn't have the shot he used to have. His drive and dunk isn't where it needs to be. And Return of the King did work. I mean, absolute work. Hayden Land did absolute work with Derrick Rose there. So I don't know how their lines are shaping up or how their lines are going to shape up. But why, coming from Texas, because you had a little bit of this, why did we put them at number 8? I mean, why do you feel they're the 8th there as the worst, at the 8th best team in the league?
I think it comes more from their user rosters. Kind of like you, some of these guys I'm not 100% sure of, but the guys I know, I mean, they got an average roster. I mean, they got a roster where they can compete with. They can compete with this roster. The problem is they're not going to be able to compete with the top tier guys in this league that are higher up on the power rankings, and that's how I feel. The guys that I'm not aware of, some of these like Army Vet Steve and Aida and I think that's really about it. I mean, if they come through and just go ham, then I mean, hats off to them. But their user rosters are the real reason that I put them down here. The Knicks are completely a great pick. I mean, Hayden did a great job picking those guys. But as the user roster, man, I just don't feel like they have anybody here that could take over.
Yeah, I struggle seeing a standout superstar here. I mean, Shump, looking at that roster, who has to be their standout superstar here? I mean, you know these guys probably a little better than myself, so who has to be the guy that steps up and surprises everybody? Are you there, Shump? Oh, okay.
I would say, yeah, my fault. I might be there first. I would say King. I mean, King has to lead a line. I mean, the Knicks they're a really good all around team actually, and I mean Hayden got them at a good pick, and like James said, they don't have a lot of, unless those dudes that I mean I don't know those two dudes that he mentioned, and unless those two dudes are just really good players that can turn a team around. I mean King's gonna have to carry one line. I know, and it's hard to do that. But I mean, some of the players like Crash. Crash was on my Raptors team last season. He was a good player. He didn't get to play much because he never got called up until like the last week when I took over.
Yeah.
But he was a good all around player, and I mean he can do. I don't know where he's going to be playing. I don't know if he's going to be on D Rose. He's going to be on Lee or Melo, but depending on which one of those he can play, and he can help a line compete. But it really all comes down to really, if I don't know who's going to be on King's line, I haven't got to play them yet. He's just, I mean, if he's playing Melo, he's going to have to control the ball and just run the show really. And hopefully, I mean, last year it didn't work out for us too well, but hopefully their other line can pick up some wins along with his one line if he can get a good little run going with them.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, if they can put Hayden Land, let him run point, put Return of the King on his spot at 3. You could pretty much put any 2 in there, and they're gonna do open shot, corner monkey is what I like, what they call us. The money team actually was paying Porzingad, and drop stepping like a madman, like ridiculously drop stepping and dropping people off when I played a couple games with him, because I thought I was going to to them as their 2 when I played a couple games. Outtaker's not bad at center. He can play good, decent defensively.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a takeover guy, but he's going to get his blocks, and he's going to be a defensive-minded player, which you really need playing against some of these other bigs in the league. So they're shaky there. I would probably move them up a couple, and I kind of fought with myself a bit, and I thought, well, we'll just place them here, and they'll prove me wrong. So this is a team I'm expecting to prove me wrong. Their weekly schedule for the first 5 games is they go to Thunder, and then they're Clippers, Raptors, Celtics, and Cavaliers. I think they could start out an easy 3-2. I think with who they're playing against. maybe maybe only 2 wins to start out, but it'll be good to watch, a good season. And the Knicks, I know, will prove me wrong. I know Hayden Land's already pumping his fist at me like ice. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. So I do wish the New York Knicks the best. Moving on to number 7, we actually have the Indiana Pacers. Now, I had these guys a little lower on mine when I was going over because we compared and then we came to agreement and negotiated. Only because, not of their roster, only because of the Pacers. Every time we've played against the Pacers, nobody has really stood out as Paul George. I mean, Paul George is a takeover, but that's really and like I said, maybe I'm sleeping on the team, but that's really one, the pick was surprising, and two, to have this kind of roster again on any other major team, and this is the only reason I think they deserve to be, at 7 or maybe even 6 if you want to argue that, or bottom 5 and below, is because of the roster that Abyss put together. I mean, Abyss has got himself his owner. Z actually training camp he picked up, which I think is a really good training camp pickup. Alpha at 1.5 mil, the Realist 260 at 5.5, the Real Uncle Drew at 5.5, Bama at 500K, Metro Trauma TC, I don't know who that is, so apologize. Frito Wavy at 1 mil, Unibrow Beatdown 500K, that was an all-star last year. Anti XXX Gotti at 500K, Big Beast at 1 mil, and Savage Max 760 at 0.5 mil. Going right back to you, Shump, do you feel that do you feel that it's positive to be at 7, or you think they should be dropped lower, higher? Where do you feel they should be? And 2, give me your thoughts on the roster.
Looking at this roster as bidding was going on, I noticed that Abyss. I pretty much had my full team, and Abyss had like 4 players.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's just like he got caught up like bidding, or like if he was trying to bid up somebody and trying to like get them. I don't really know what happened. But for the cap that he had, like I really feel like he could have got a better team. Drew is a great player, but Paul George isn't his style of player, I would say. He's more of a point guard, dribbles, everything like that. Paul George is a hard dude to play with on this 2K. I don't know if you guys used him, but I mean he can't dribble, and it's hard to run an offense with him. And guys like that in a team like the Pacers, you need to be able to run an offense with. So I mean, I would say that you could switch like anywhere between all the teams that we mentioned so far could all be switched within each other. I would say. I don't really think like nothing, like you said, nothing really stands out on their roster besides Drew. I mean, they have really good players. Don't get me wrong, but it's just that Pacers team's going to be really hard to play with if you don't have good all around, and especially like the role players. Like they got to know how to play everything like that. So I mean, I think it's going to be I think it'll be a tough season for them. I wish them the best, and I think Abyss is a great owner. I think he could have done a lot more with his bidding than what he did.
Yeah, I don't think the Pacers should have been picked at all. But like I said again, I might be sleeping on them. There's a couple teams this season that I was like, whoa, why did that get picked as a team? But I could be wrong, and someone found something that I don't know, a sleeper in the mist. So Texas, I mean, we talked about this during the pick, where the Pacers got picked at and so forth. Traded down or traded up to get the Pacers, which made absolutely no sense. We were surprised with. Hurt his salary a bit with what he had and with the line that you see here. Of course, you agree that he should be in that spot because we fought back and forth on it. But what do you think about this roster? I mean, any thoughts you have?
Well, thinking about going with the spot, I'm gonna give a little insight. You got to show respect for the team that just made it to the final last season, regardless of what team they had. And the Bids put together another great team, user wise. The users, I mean, you got Realist, you got Drew, Bama, Abyss himself. I mean, they're good players. The only problem and the reason why they're here, uh, even arguably maybe a spot or two lower, is where all these good players going to play. I mean, there's only one Paul George. You know what I mean? So I don't understand where Realist. I'm assuming Realist is going to play the one for Drew. I don't know why Drew signed up for the 4. I don't know if he's trying to get a lower a bid count, sign up at the 4. He's not a big. I don't understand. I don't see what happened there. Maybe he just tried to go for a lower amount of money with his position. But I mean, Alpha's a great defender. He's a guy that I've played with many times in the past. Sometimes can be an attitude problem. I mean, but if you can put up with it, it's worth. I mean, it's not like massive like some of these other guys in the league, but he can be cranky sometimes. But I mean that's why these guys are just slow. I, like, going on to repeat, Shump. I love Abyss as an owner. He's a great owner. He always puts together a good team, like some of the other owners we have this season. And he'll always compete. Not sure about the pick. Maybe he knows something I don't know. I haven't played with the Pacers, but it's what he got. It's what he paid for, what he traded for. He traded up to get the Pacers. I don't know. I don't know, man. But so this is what he has. I can't see him in the finals this year with this team, but who knows? Maybe he can surprise us.
Yeah, I mean he's got 11 mil in 2 players, which I know one of them was a GM that he brought on, but he's still got 5.5 in another player. This team has to get on those 2 players back and ride into the playoffs. They just have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I mean,
Weekly.
we could always bring up the old good old bum hunting strategy they like to go with.
We're gonna bring that out already. But can you bum hunt with Pacers? I mean, you could bum hunt with a good team, but aren't you bum
Could you
hunting
be
with
bum
bums?
hunting with the Pacers? Like, yeah, I don't know, but
Is that a real thing? I think anybody the Pacers play at this point. I
my
mean,
thing is like
other
this
than
season.
unless you see them play like Boston and OKC every single game that they show up to every week. I mean, I think every other team
But even then,
is
both
a
of
better
those.
team. I mean, it really
OKC
is.
has a good line, so even if you play OKC, you're gonna run into JT and them at
Yeah.
least every now and then.
Yeah. Well,
But
you're
the
not
thing
bum
is,
hunting.
this season, I gotta say, man, I gotta shout out while we're talking about this. I gotta shout out to these guys, man, because these guys that went out and got people to sign up for the league. Because I'm saying I've never seen since I've been playing the league this balanced. I mean, when we were doing the power rankings, guys, I mean, you could confirm we were talking about, man. I mean, this is it's so close. Every decision we made was close, man.
I know. I think it
I
was
mean, the
less
league is
weighted on the rosters and more rated on the teams themselves because it's
exactly.
just
I mean,
because
the
the
rosters
rosters
are
are
just
pretty.
so
Yeah.
balanced this year, and that's a shout out to the owners as well. Maybe it's a shout out to the new salary system we have going on, but the league, man, I want to shout out to the whole league right now. Just take a second for them because thank you because we're gonna have a great season this year, and I'm super excited. Super
Yeah.
excited. Can't
The
wait.
first
But we
5
can move
games to
on.
kind of jump off of the Pacers here, and I don't mean to hurry you through, but time is always an essence. But they got the Clippers. That doesn't sound like a game I want to. The Sunday does not sound like a day I'd want to be a part. Even their whole first 5 games. If I'm bum humping, I'm going to tell them I'm not available till Tuesday. Clippers, Warriors, Thunders, Trailblazers, and Raptors. I mean, that doesn't seem like the first 5 teams I want to play against. Just it's not an easy start for the Pacers. Moving on, we have number 6, and of course I'm not happy with this because I'm on Portland, but it's Portland Trailblazers at number 6. This low, you say? Yes, it was the way it is. Because they have a 2-time All-Star in Ice the Man at 500K, Eastern at $1 million, Zero Kid at 500K, Evidence, of course, his owner, C-Pain at $2 million, Fab at $8 million, Zabriel at 500K, Defeat You, which has a ring as well, at 500K, O'Harris at 500K, Tasmania at 500K, AO Mark in training camp, which was a great training camp pickup, and Bugs, which they've sent down from training camp and sent him down. They picked him up in the bidding, but they sent him back down. So, looking at this roster, I see one strong line and the other line that needs to gel. There's a couple questions that I had in here, and this is me talking from my team. I've got to take my teammate shirt off and leave it in the locker room because now I'm in the media booth, so I have to beat up. So if you guys are listening, don't give me shit later. But I mean, I knew I was going at 500K. As I said in a pre-show we were discussing, I thought I was going to Shump for 500K because I seen 500K and I thought, okay, if nobody bids me up to $1 million, Shump knows I can show up to every game, I can be a corner monkey and do what he needs me to do. So, that's what he's going to do. So, 500K, I thought that's what I was going to go as. I thought I was going there. I was surprised to find out I came here and to find out we got Eastern at $1 million, which Eastern's a really good, intelligent player. At $1 million is a very good value. Zero Kid I haven't played a whole lot with, but the team is working together. So I can tell you kind of the lines is going to be Fab, Eastern, and myself. And you can really put any two. You can put Zabriel at power forward, and you can even bring Defeat at center, or even Evidence himself. And Fab's going to run the show. I mean, we know that that line is not going to lose many games because Fab is going to give you a headache, because you can't play defense on somebody. You can double, triple team him, but you've got so many shooters around him that you can't do that. Just like with Golden State we were talking earlier. So I think this team should be higher, of course, because it's my team. But I mean, I feel strong at 6. Shump will go right to you. Do you feel 6 is the right spot for Portland? And 2, are you even concerned in the West with Portland at all?
As of right now, I will say that I do feel like that is a good spot for you guys. Just being because I don't know how that second line is going to come out and be. Because I've previously talked to Fab the last couple nights, and I talked to him about it, and I told him, like, I mean, he already knows too. He mentioned it to me, like, people are going to be out there doubling him, tripling him, just trying to make him get rid of the ball. Because I mean, like, it's Damian Lillard. It's the best, if the second best, whatever, point guard on the game, like the best scorer on the game. I went through it last year, and it wasn't fun because we didn't have the shooters. But the one thing I'll say about Portland is they do have the shooters around where if you do want to leave them, you can get popped real quick. And Fab's one of the best passers on the game. So, I mean, he's definitely going to make that line work with you guys. It really all comes down how that second line. I hope it isn't. I know y'all got Champ. I think I heard that he might be playing Lillard. Hopefully he makes it this year. Last year, I mean, he was expected to play either DeRozan or Lowry, whatever, and I mean, he played maybe 4 or 5 games all season. So hopefully his availability is there this year because I mean he's a good ball player and he can help a line win games. So I guess it really just all depends. Because I would say he would probably be our second best Lillard is what I would say. Just from him playing point guard with past seasons that I've seen. So it really just all depends. So that's the only reason I put y'all there now because y'all have the firepower. It's just does your second line come to play every week?
Yeah, I mean, you go 50% all week and still you only need one to win, but you do need that second line to get some wins to make it to the playoff, especially in this tough West division.
Yep, we tried it last year. It didn't work too good for us.
Yeah, I mean, you struggled right there at the end to push. Right. So, kind of going to Texas, looking at this roster, you got Portland there, of course, at 6. Do you feel like there could be some spark of greatness, or do you feel like this line's just going to barely sneak its way in the playoffs? You have them at a playoff spot. I mean, that West is tough. What do you got?
Well, first of all, I know Evidence is watching this because I've seen him in the Twitch chat. We need a round of applause fucking sound effect in this thing. But I want to give this man a hand because he took risks. He's a new owner coming in this league, hasn't been in this league for a while, okay, in the EBA. And he doesn't know a lot of people. But he went out and paid money for Fab, got C-Pain, got a couple of guys that he knows, and got guys he's not going to show up like Ice and Eastern. And he did his thing, man. And he was not afraid to spend money on the guys that he knew he wanted to lead this line. So I want to give a round of applause to that guy for doing that and stepping up and realizing that there's not a lot that of context he has here, and just doing what's going to be it's gonna be a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
And good for him for doing that because I know this is going to be a lot about Fab. We're going to talk a lot about Fab here. We're going to talk a lot about what he can do, but I want people to realize that Evidence went out there and did this and took the risk, knowing what he had to lose here. So good for him. But moving on to Fab, I absolutely think they can do great things. Fab has carried teams before. He's carried lines before in the past that haven't won a game in the playoffs. So it's definitely capable for them to do something if he can get his line clicking. Ice has been a part of Fab's line before, I believe, right? Right, Ice?
Yeah, I was on a Kings line, and then I was on, I think the All-Star line. I think I was on with also Shump, or no, I was at Kings with Shump and Fab and JT, and then I think I was with her next season there. I was with them on that line as well. So I spent 2 seasons with Fab. He likes me because I do what he asks to do.
OKC. Yeah, he's a savage, man. The man attacks the rim like a storm. I mean, so be ready for that, man. I mean, the dude's gonna be a problem. I put him in my MVP candidate race for a reason. He's 8 mil for a reason. So y'all look out, man. And one more time, man. Good job, Evidence, man. You did good on that money, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy to play with Fab this year. I know it's going to be, if anything happens, it's going to be because you got carried by Fab. I already know, and that's fine. They can carry me. That's fine. I got no problem with Fab and Eastern and riding there behind. I'm a little concerned unless you double. I beg you to double or triple team Fab because I won't get in the game if you guys don't double or triple team Fab. So small forward, don't even cover Ice the Man. He's just going to stand up on the corner and just hold his crotch and not even play the game. So you don't worry about me. Go double, triple team him because I'm gonna get the ball and I'm okay. I'll shoot all day long because I will ice the Jack Man. I think they named me. But the first 5 games weekly schedule is the Cleveland Cavaliers, Boston Celtics, Memphis Grizzlies, Indiana Pacers, and the Clippers are the first 5 games. I mean, out of those 5 games, what do you think, Texas? You think they could pull a couple wins, 3 wins out of there? Cavs, Celtics, Grizzlies, Pacers, and Clippers.
Well, I mean, they might as well not even play the Cavs because that's already gonna be a L.
Oh,
But it just beyond that, it depends on who Fab's playing, which
yeah,
game the Fab
what
playing.
line he's showing up to. Gotcha.
Yeah, because those are dubs.
All right, moving on to number 5, we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I was a little surprised that Memphis was ahead of Portland here just for the team base itself, but then looking at the roster, oh man, if he can make this work, he might be pretty scary with the Grizzlies. Again, I'm sleeping on the Grizzlies, and that could be the case, and that's fine. But at 5, you got Crow as the owner, Montana FDU at 1 mil, Budweiser Beast 1.5, Bama Mike at 500K, Let's Get It Boy at 6 mil, Brady and TC, which I think again is a good pickup for Brady. Big Shot 172X New York City, whatever. Anyway, 1.5 mil. Irving at 1.5 mil. That boy Kells, which I think is a good TC pickup as well. Easy Money Sniper 2 mil. Mellow B Ballin 2.5. It's the boss at 500K. So looking, it's pretty similar, other than add Mellow B Ballin, which I think is a great player. He might run his mouth a little bit, but what do you expect? You gotta think you're the best out there if you're gonna be playing. So if Let's Get It Boy and Mellow B Ballin can come together behind Crow, I can see a pretty scary team here, and I could be wrong at placing them for 5. I mean, what are your thoughts, Texas?
Well, there's no way that we would have ever put Corral beyond 5 as of yet, but especially in preseason. The man's knowledge of the 2Ks is legendary. People talk about it from past 2Ks and how much time he puts in the game, and he's relentless with it. So the dude knows what he's doing. Now I'm skeptical about Memphis, okay, but I haven't spent as much time on this as Crow has. So obviously the man knows something that other people don't. Because I mean, he took Memphis. I've said it before. I don't know if he was trying to sneak it to the East or what, but he took Memphis. The dude has a better team than he had last year, roster wise, user wise. His users are definitely looking better this year than they were last year. But this is another one of those teams that's just not like they're just not like great athletic, and there's a trend to the K's, man. Like the more athletic teams tend to be better. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean that's the way I feel. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
So I mean, man, unless just Marc Gasol is an absolute dog in this 2K, I don't see Memphis repeating. I don't see Crow repeating at all.
Yeah, I mean, the West is extremely strong, and Shump's in the West, so he was, he could definitely, he can look at it and say, yeah, we've got rosters that are good and the teams that are better, but you've played with Let's Get It Boy Shump. You know, and I played with him when we were on the Kings. Other than the fact he could be shaky, well, I want to play Smite instead, or I don't want to show up for this, or whatever, he's probably one of the better, if not the best, big men in the game. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely Ramo. I always say it. Anytime anybody asks about Ramo or anything, I play with the 2 best big men that I know on 2K and Space Jam, JC or Hotshot, as you guys might know him, and Ramo. The only thing that I'm gonna say Well, first off, I hope Ramo actually plays. Hope he didn't sign up to just see how much he goes for. We always joke with him about that.
Hmm.
I hope he actually plays because Ramo's a finesse big man. He's got post moves, everything like that. He'll come out and he'll hit a jumper with him. And Marcus All is that player. And um, I think Crow did. Honestly, I think Crow did the best in bidding out of anybody that I've seen. He's got a really good roster, and that's from Ramo to Easy Money and Mello.
Mhm.
They're all great players, and they all
Yep.
play in the money leagues that we play in. And then he got his boys along with it as well. So he's going to have his line, and he's going to have another line that's going to have all these players on it. It'll be interesting to see who runs their point guard. Um, just because I know with Marcus Hall, he's gonna, especially with Ramo, he's gonna have to get the ball to be effective. Marcus Hall's not no offensive rebound horse where you're gonna get a rebound every time. So if they can figure out how to make sure Ramo has the ball in his hands or the other big man on Marcus Hall, then they can make something happen out of that. I don't know why you go Grizzlies. That's one thing that I did say when, for instance, like I said, the Spurs were out there at that time. I think it was a little bit because he was trying to go to the East, because the West has a good 4 teams. I would say that he was trying to get to the East, so that's why I took Grizzlies, and then Remix just played with them, and that's one of the reasons they took the Celtics. But uh, they got to. I don't think they can make a run at the championship again, just because they're going to be outmatched team wise. But they do have really good users, and like I said, I like the way that he went through bidding this year.
How many losses do you give if you give? I mean, there's got to be some gelling time. I mean, from last
Yeah.
year you had you. I'm just using an example. You had you and Swizzerk, which
hmm
I knew Swizzerk once he said, "Oh, I got this," he was going to step up and ball. We were just waiting for that time to
hmm
happen. You and I both were talking about that at one time. That he's a great player. He just needs to step up and take control. And I was even on that line, kind of small forward, power forward, whatever they needed that night.
hmm
Um, and then you had Farah or whatever. That line in Toronto, it only took Hot Shot, what, one or two losses? I think one good blowout, and he was like, screw
Yeah.
this, I'm out.
Two.
How
Two.
many
Yeah. He
losses
quit
do
the
you think
second
it's going
game.
to take? Let's get it, boy, before he goes, I don't want to gel with these guys. These guys are bums. I'm out.
Well, I mean, I Rainbow. The last time that Rainbow quit, it was after we lost road to the or after he lost road to the finals. I don't know
Yes.
if you guys
Well, he was
remember that,
upset
but
and he
last
wanted to
year,
quit
so
completely
he
ABA.
was done. He was done with
Yes.
2K. I mean, he didn't even play money leagues with us. He was done. I
Yeah.
mean, and the only bad thing I'll say about that is it's coming up again, and I don't want him to. I obviously I'm on that team, so I hope that we win that and everything.
Yeah.
But even JT, any of them, like I don't want any of them. Like we lose this road to the All Star game, like they might give up 2K for a month, and then work on it a month later. Like I just hope that doesn't happen. Rama, we're bored. We got all our games in on money on our money leagues. We qualified for Pro Am, so I mean we're out here looking to play games. They've been playing private team ups. I don't think he'll quit. Like I said, unless it gets down there and then we lose that road to the All Star game, I don't think he's going to quit, especially since he's got Easy Money Snipers actually on our Space Jam team. So if them two are playing together, I think he'll keep playing. But if he were like, if they just start out terrible, then I could see him because he doesn't like to lose, just like any other grown man doesn't like to lose. It really depends, honestly. I don't think
Gotcha.
he's going to quit though, in my opinion.
Well, they've got the first 5 games: Boston Celtics, Cleveland Cavaliers, Trailblazers, Raptors, and Warriors. So they got you Monday at that 10 p.m. game. You going to schedule yourself on that game?
Yep, I'm on that game. Yes, sir.
that
Yes, sir. I'm in
that
there.
might be one to broadcast. I don't know that, but
Yep,
I
it
mean,
will. Yep, it'll be
I'm excited to
broadcasted.
see actually how Memphis does this season. It's the boss told me I'm sleeping on them, and I might be, and I really hope I am.
We scrimmaged them. Yeah, we scrimmaged
So
them. They didn't play bad as a team, but I'm the Warriors, so it's hard to match as an all around team what the Warriors have, and that's just the honest truth.
Yeah. So moving on to the next one here, we've got at number 4, and I wanted to put these guys a little higher, but at number 4 we got Toronto Raptors. The only reason I wanted to put these guys, the only reason I didn't put them higher, and I thought about even moving them down a couple spots, is anybody who's been around the EBA, even the old VBA that we were in the old league site. The Toronto's just so fucking cursed. Like they're the most cursed team. Seems like something always happens that you didn't think would happen. And it's sad because Toronto has a good squad this year, or playing good in a 2K squad. They have Mr. Youngshot at $2.5 million, Mr. Leon a TC pickup, Doumbia for MVP at 1.5, Suzuki Uchale Chila, whatever. Who's that? That's the owner.
Revolves.
That's Revolves. Yeah.
Revolves.
317 11 500K sports player 54. I think that's a good TC pickup. Corrupted 4.5. Corrupted played a little bit last season on the team, so he kind of just gets to jump right back in his own little role. But probably gets to play a nice little superstar now. Smiley Face 167 at 500K. Shadow ZZ at 1.5. Boyo at 500K. It's Rush. That's a good pickup at 2.5. And Baller for Life at 1.5. So I see some really good names on here. I'm going to run right back to you, Shump, because we both came from Toronto last season. And I know that I had to make a trade at the end of the season, get me off the team because you wanted to bring Corrupted over, which I don't blame you. Corrupted's a way better player than myself. So, I mean, just looking at this line, do you think they're going to give the East a headache, I guess?
Them and the Cavs are definitely my two to come out the East. If the only downfall of the Raptors is Revolve's playing point guard, and he doesn't play point guard often. I know he's been working on it a little bit in the money leagues. Kyle Lowry's a dude that has to score on that team. Corrupted and Doumbia will do great on DeRozan. It comes down, like I said, who's playing how their two Lowrys play. As you seen last year, I mean, they have great players around them too, but those two are a majority of the scoring. Lowry's one of the best point guards in the game. I mean, I played with him last year, and I mean, he's unreal, the things that he can do. So it really just depends how those point guards play with them. But the Raptors are definitely up there and will give Texas a good run for his money this year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely got to be in the talk for first or second seed in the East, I believe anyway. That's why I had them at the fourth spot. It's just, I mean, looking at this, Texas brought you into the conversation here. Doumbia for MVP at 1.5. I mean, do you feel, and I know you'll be like, oh, no, Cleveland, that's my boy, it's whatever, but do you feel that this is your biggest competition in the East? And then also, Doumbia at 1.5, I think that's probably the steal of the draft. Am I wrong here? What do you think?
I think you're wrong. I'm sure we can find a better one out there.
Okay. and secondly,
but, sorry, I don't mean to stop talking.
Dodge it.
No. We don't even need to bring up your second question. But first of all, let's talk about this, man. I think Revolves, like I said last year, if you go back and look at all the EBA Tonight shows, scroll all the way back to when we were doing the first power rankings at the end of week 1, I've always said Revolves is a great owner. And no matter what happens, he's going to compete, and he's going to be in the playoffs at the end of the year, hands down, just because he's that guy. He did try to sell out last season. I have no problems calling him a bitch for that. I got you, Revolves. He did try to sell out last season. He was being a homie over an owner and trying to sell his boys and just give them all to playoff teams and do all that stuff. But the dude is a good owner. The dude is going to compete. He has an athletic team to do so. Toronto's one of the more athletic teams on the K. He has the roster to do it. He has Corrupted. He has Melo. He has himself. I mean, Doumbia, excuse me, not Melo. He has, so there's no reason for this man not to finish number 2 in the East and make the playoffs.
Well, there's a couple questions here, and it could be dumb questions. Corrupted was easy, hands down. I would say small forward of the year while he was playing on in Golden State. I believe he was on the small forward Durant, KD.
Absolutely.
Easily, hands down, small forward of the year for me anyway. And then he went over to Toronto, which I think kind of played with it a little bit. But can he? Because it's a different play style. DeRozan, I mean,
he jumped around a lot last season.
No, he stayed on Golden State for a while, I think.
No, but I mean, Carroll went to Golden State, took over Golden State. Defeat took Corrupted in compensation.
Oh, you're right. And Corrupted won. We'll go somewhere. You're right. No, you're right. Because I ended up on Los Angeles. But he jumped around within a week span. He didn't jump around like multiple weeks. But if he would have stayed in Golden State, I would have easily named him small forward of the year. I mean, he was having killer stats with KD, and he was taking over games.
MVP.
Yeah, possibly even
Possibly
Rightly
MVP.
so. I mean,
last year.
Yeah, I agree.
you better be putting up numbers with KD.
He
I mean,
was
that
scoring
better happen.
even when he came to Toronto when he started playing with me. He was on Terrence Ross putting up numbers.
Yeah,
That helped a lot. The
he's
last
a
year
way
when
better
we
Man's a
Terrence Ross
probably
than
savage.
ever.
won
Yeah,
out.
you're right. Yeah, Corrupt's a savage.
Yeah,
So I
he's
mean,
definitely
he's gonna do his work, and that I think he needs to in order to support that line. But the first 5 games they have there are Golden State Warriors Sunday right out of the bat. Go against big boys. Make a statement against Golden State. Oklahoma City Thunder, Knicks, Grizzlies, and Pacers is his first 5 games there. I think they could easily pull down 4-1 for the maybe even 5-0 for that week, and depending on how who shows up at the Golden State and how Toronto wants to play. It's such a hard team to come over. So they're one of
I
the
think
few
that
teams I
depends on
think have a
how much of a savage. I think that depends on how much of a savage Marcus Gasol is, because I don't see him beating Golden State. That I mean, my man Shump's over there for one, and they Golden State. But I think if Marcus Gasol can show out, man, the Grizzlies could be nice. The Grizzlies can be
They
nice.
can. They definitely can. They got the pieces.
He better be Marcus Gasol better be just such a dog, man. I'm telling you, the man better
You
be a
took that
savage
team
to
for a
take
reason. They
him.
better
Right.
be top.
They
The
they
top
better
big
be
men in
what
the
he's.
league.
That's what I'm saying. They better be as good as what we're seeing here.
So moving over to number 3, we have the Los Angeles Clippers. Now the top 3, we went back and forth. I don't know how many times because you could really juggle them or move them around however you want.
Whoa!
Well,
You
you
went back and
didn't,
forth. We
but
went
I
back
went
and forth
back
in
and
the
forth
top
with
two.
you. You
Hello.
didn't. You were like, no, it was
Y'all meant the
good.
top 2 or
But
top 2 and 3, right? That's what y'all was changing.
the top 3, I was talking about. You can kind of
No, the
exchange and
top
argue,
2.
and he's going no, the top 2 because that's all he. I mean, it's his team, of course, now. So,
Yeah,
but their
definitely.
roster
my
looks like
goodness,
this.
no bias. No
It's
bias.
Call Me Kyle at 500K, The Truth JGW at 500K, which again, All Star is going to show up to his games. I think that's a good pickup. Quick to React TC, Minnesota Boy TC, King Mizark, of course, owner solid. G Money at 5.5. He's going to do his thing. White Ice Fresh. I think he meant to get Ice the Man. I don't think he meant to get White Ice Fresh. I think he bid it on the wrong guy here, but that's 500K there. 2X Cool, which we know he did well last season. He's going to do well this season, 1.5. Inglewood Made Me. I don't know who that is, but that's 500K. Majestic at 6 mil. He paid the money for him. King Havoc, 500K, and Lee Bum at 1.5. I was warned ahead of time that Lee Bum and King Havoc and a couple of these guys were really good Pro-Am guys. I don't know. I'm not in the Pro-Am market. I'm gonna shoot right back over to Shump and just kind of ask him, looking at this roster, one, is 3 a good spot for them, and 2, are these guys sleepers that we just don't know about? Shump?
Oh, what was that? I'm sorry. 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 I
He's sleeping.
I just got PM.
Are you sleeping?
PM about a trade in the middle of the show. People trying to get me all off.
Perfect. Trade rumors already.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
I said, looking at this roster that LA Clippers have over here, are they reasonably in the top 3? And then 2, some of these guys like Lee Bum, King Havoc, Inglewood Made Me, I don't know. I heard that they're Pro-Am players. Are they good Pro-Am player? I'm assuming they are. I mean, I don't know who Lee Bum is. I don't know who King Havoc is. So, what are your thoughts since you're from Pro-Am? Are these guys that you recognize their names? Or these guys that, are sleepers and playing in the LA Clippers uniform?
Just Miz is my boy. Obviously, I talk to him every day on Xbox. You could definitely trade this team and the Raptors. I think you could trade. They're both back and forth, is what I would say. I wouldn't put Miz's team up into the top 2 yet. What really based on is Miz. He failed. I've told him too. He failed to. He's got 2 good DeAndres. He's got 2 good Chris Pauls. But when Blake comes back, he has nobody that's going to play Blake, which is going to hurt him in the long run, at least. I know Blake's not back right now. He can have people spot up for him. LeBum, he's a good player. He's a Pro-Am player. King Havoc, he plays in the 2K Gods, the Money League. And Inglewood is Miz's boy. He's always played in the Money Leagues, everything like that. He'll be on like JJ. I think both of them will be playing JJ, actually. So it really, them competing, I don't think the whole, like what they did last year, forcing it to G Money and Too Cool is going to work too well this year. Especially now, if I have something to say about it in the West, it's not going to work too well this year. It really comes down to who they're gonna have on Blake. Because looking at his roster, I know he's actually the one that just hit me up about talking about trades with somebody. It really depends if he can get somebody to play as 4. I've told him that it comes down to Blake Griffin's like going to be the most vital key because around playoff time is about time he'll probably come back maybe a week before or something like that. So if they can get 2 good Blakes, the Clippers are. If Blake comes back and they have 2 good Blakes, the Clippers are definitely with that roster will be one of the best teams. It will give me a run for the money in the West for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's not comparing apples to apples, or even oranges to apples, the situation, I can tell you from the last year, I kept saying this over and over. It seemed like every time Golden State would go up against Los Angeles, and I thought Golden State was the better, even rostered team and 2K team, they always struggled with the Clippers. That's where their few losses came from. Now, I mean, that team's not your team, of course, Sean, but they do, I would say, out of anybody else, they do really push the weaknesses of Golden State to the limits. With the big men inside,
But
with
they did have
DeAndre,
Blake.
with Blake, when they have Blake, yes. So I can definitely see where you would see them as a little bit of concern if they can fill a couple holes. What do you think, Texas? I mean, you agree with everything he's saying?
Well, I do. I definitely agree. I mean, the man knows what he's talking about. He knows these guys. I do want to make a little comment about my man Inglewood here. He came in the league new last year. I'm hoping he was new last year, but he came in the league new last year. And the man sent me a message because I was the commissioner. Right? I'm smiling, but the man sent me a message. And I forgot where he got randomly assigned, but he sent me a message and he was like, "I demand a trade to the Minnesota Timberwolves." And I just could not help myself but laugh my ass off, man. That shit was just so funny when I got that shit.
Yeah, that's Mrs. Boy right there.
Yeah, no, I
he's
knew
been around for a while now.
That's why he picked up this season. But beyond that, they got a good roster, man. I can see some Blakes here. If you can get around a personality issue, Quick React's a great player, but he has the shittiest personality, dude. I mean, he loves to win, but dude, he could kill the morale on the team.
It was definitely good TC because maybe he could step in. He doesn't have to play every game. He can
absolutely,
come in
absolutely.
and
So
play a game here or there and play for
100%. And Kyle's hit and miss. He can be all in one game and just have a bad game. But you got G Money, obviously returning MVP, expecting big things from him with DeAndre and Blake. As soon as Blake gets back, there's your Blake right there. I don't know why you want him spreading the floor just like he did last season, trying to recreate that cat build that they had going on with him last year, with probably more athleticism. But 2X Cool, a guy up for Defensive Player of the Year last year. He put together a savage roster, majestic. But what do you expect from a guy with a returning Owner of the Year? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's showing his experience right here. Got a great roster. Obviously got LeBum and a couple other guys that. Well, I think LeBum might be the only one I don't really recognize. Yeah, but beyond that, man, the dude built a team for the Clippers. If Kyle can get his shit together, he'd be good. If he can stay consistent. But beyond that, man, I only see like one opportunity for a good Blake DeAndre combo with Kyle and maybe another one of these guys. But he definitely needs to find a Blake or two even. But yeah, man, Shump hit around the head, bro. They're definitely going to be a problem in the West for sure.
Yeah, with what we're looking at here, of course, it's hard to do. We're justifying preseason rankings based on the owners that we know, what we feel they can do, because the season really it's preseason. Nobody's played anybody yet. Everybody's fresh start. But just looking at the rosters and also taking the 2K team itself plays a major role in setting up these rankings. And then you have to look at the roster. Then you have to look at the owner. What kind of moves is he going to make? It even the first week that could really shake things up. So, the first 5 games they play the Indiana Pacers, the Knicks, the Celtics, the Cavs, and the Trailblazers. I see an easy 4 or 5 wins in there, especially against the Cavs. I think they're going to destroy the Cavs Monday night at 9. Moving on. I'm just giving Texas Shade some crap because He's always his team. That's all right, brother. You got Cleveland this year.
I can't help it if my team is great. I can't help it.
Take off your jersey in the locker room. Speaking of your
They're
team,
always
at number 2, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers.
debatable number
The
2.
Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 2, like you said, debatable 2, 1, maybe even 3. I put them here.
I don't know about that.
Maybe
We're
even
going the wrong
1.
direction here.
And that's only because you have the all-star sleeper at Mags. I wouldn't have paid 2.5 for Mags, but hey, I mean, you got him at 2.5. You got Mags, Master Quickie at 2.5. This is probably the most shook up roster that I wouldn't expect to end up at 14.5. But Master Quickie at 2.5, Texas James Smith, the commish himself at 1.5, MC Sticks at 2, Almighty Zeus at 500K, Mike Mann, MVP last year. He was MVP last year, right? Point guard, MVP, and point guard of the year, wasn't he? No, he was point guard of the year. I'm sorry, point guard of the year.
Point guard of the year.
Yeah, point guard of the year. He was in the MVP running though. Young Bull Guwap at 4 mil, Pure Hustle at 500K, Black Mamba at 500K, Dirty Falcon, TC, which I think is a great TC. We were discussing before that he's 6th man of the year. TC, that's a really good TC.
He would have been 6th man of the year for sure, but he signed up late for bidding and what else.
So I mean, I'm going to warn everybody on the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. If you're tripping up, Dirty Falcon will be happy to take that spot. So don't trip up because he's there waiting patiently.
That's my boy right there, man. That's my dude.
Clutch King 215 at 500K and Sorcy at 0 TC as well. I think that's another. That could be a big payoff. A TC should be a betting chip. When you go to TC, you should be like, I'm going to bet on this guy. Sorcy's good. I played against him twice, 2-3 times this season, or in the preseason plays. As I was playing with different teams, and he's pretty good. He can play. The problem with him is, from what I hear, is he's a cancer to a team. He's hard to deal with in the locker room. Things so forth. He's just difficult person. But his skill matches his attitude, from what I understand. Maybe his attitude's a little higher. But if he could get on a team, let's say like Cleveland, and say, hey, I'm just here to win a ring. I'm going to do what I need to do. Put me in, coach, and not push the boundaries. Cleveland could make a couple small moves here or there and be easily, I think, fighting for that. I honestly have them all going all the way to the end anyway because they're Cleveland and this team is strong. I would say even stronger than last year's Cleveland. And again, a 2K team means so much. So, of course, you're going to say that, Texas. But, Shump, looking at this, I mean, you've got your team winning the West going into the finals. No, you're not allowed to talk. You got your team going all the way to the finals, of course. So, looking at this team, do you feel that they have a legitimate shot at what you are already considering your crown? I mean, of course, you see yourself winning the ring this year. You wouldn't be an owner. But do you think they have a legitimate shot at upsetting your run?
Yeah, I definitely do. Mike put a really good team together. He got a very good pick. Another one of those dudes like me that didn't have a lot of cap to work with and get these real big name players. But he got a bunch of the solid middle tier players, and he did a really good job putting his team together. And with the updates that they give, for instance, LeBron. I mean, now LeBron can shoot, and Kyle Korver coming over there, so they don't have to use some random at the 2. And it's just the cat. Like I told everybody else after bidding, and they literally 2 days after I bid it, they give LeBron a 3. I'm like, obviously the Warriors are the best team, but God, that Cavs team looks good now. And they're definitely the favorite in the East. And like I said, they should have no problem winning the East as long as they play well together as a team. I mean, I haven't really played. I'd like even last year, I didn't even play Mike Mann once last year. And as long as they play together as a team, and as long as that Raptors team doesn't come out to be some kind of vicious thing to be messed with, then they should definitely easily make it out the East.
Yeah, they've got to be the team to beat. Of course, Texas, I'm going to give you your chance to speak here, even though it's your team. I don't think you should talk. But, yeah, I mean, they're definitely 4 mil for Young Bull Guwap. I know he's good. I don't know if 4 mil is the number for him. 2.5 I felt he spent a little money on. However, if you look at the bottom, what he had 15 mil in cap and he spent 14.5 of it, I think he utilized the cap just as good or better than any other owner has thus far. Of course, you're going to agree with that. But now I'm going to pull you out. Who do you think is going to be your biggest competition in the East? I want to know, because you're going to say, oh, my team's going all the way. I know, I can already hear it. So of course you agree this is the best team. Of
Yeah.
course you agree this is the best roster put together. Who do you think is going to be your biggest competition in the East?
I mean, man, obviously, I feel like Toronto's gonna be the biggest competition in the East. But let me say this, man. Let me talk about my team just for a second. I don't. It's not that I just hype my team up all the time. I can't help it that my team is better than everybody else's team. That's not
Oh,
my
wow.
fault. I mean,
Hey,
I am.
Yo, yo,
I
yo,
am.
yo.
I am
Come
part
on
of
now.
the team.
Where's your
Come
ring at
on
last
now.
season? Where was that at?
You know what? It's in the MIA section where all
Oh,
my
is that-
players went.
Oh,
Man.
okay.
I don't know what happened.
It's in the
I don't know what
MIA section where Mike went last year during the playoffs.
Yeah, Mike and the rest of them guys too, man.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a new season. All right. Hopefully we don't have
Exactly.
any real life emergencies, man. I mean, regardless of who's who, man, we don't want anybody getting hurt out there, nothing, no matter what. But my team is always good. You know, Mike's savage, man. He always puts together a good squad, always, regardless if I'm there or not. Even though I do help it, a little bit, But I mean, regardless if I'm there or not, we always have a good team to put on the floor. We always compete. We're always at the top of the leaderboards. So I mean, what I say isn't wrong. Just because y'all feel like it's a little bit biased, I mean, it doesn't mean I'm wrong with it.
So I also
It
want to
doesn't
ask you
mean I'm
here.
wrong.
Didn't you go 500K last season? Now you're at 1.5. That's $1 million
I did go
increase.
500K this year.
I mean, what do you? I mean, that,
I ain't
you
trying
gotta
to get all that.
Making that
Whoever-
money.
I
I
guess.
ain't trying to make money, man.
That's
I
because
ain't
I
trying
bid
to
you
make
up.
money.
I honestly think his training camps are probably. I have to give it to Mike, man, and this is the reason why he's up there. His training
Yep,
camps are
he
probably
got
the
the
two
steals.
best training camps in steals. They're question marks on the Sourcey one, of course, but if he plans out, it could be a very scary TC. Because I mean, he's patiently waiting for someone to slip up. If he can stick around and stay on the team and not piss off Mike Man enough to want him traded out. So I mean, I have to give it to Mike Man for that. Your first 5 games are the Portland Trailblazers, the Grizzlies, the Warriors, the Clippers, and the Knicks. So I mean, you got a couple really big pops in there that you get to go out and prove yourself. So
Mike's a really chill dude, man. So you really got to go out the way to really piss the dude off. I mean, the dude is chill as fuck. So to piss off Mike to that point, I mean, you got to really do some fucking throw that shit.
I could tell you he's scared. Sourcey is a good player, but he's scared from last season's the way that he acted with the people. He's scared a couple owners away from even putting 500K on him because he's easily a 5. He's
100%.
better than I am at 500K.
I asked about him, and I mean, I just heard he's got that attitude.
The dude got 2 blacklists for attitude issues, and it's so hard to
Yep.
blacklist somebody just because you don't like the way they are. So that's why he was able to keep coming back. Because I mean, okay, yeah, the dude's an asshole or whatever the issue was with him. I'm not saying he's an asshole. I'm just saying, if, for example, if a guy's an asshole, and then you try to blacklist him because people don't get along with him, I mean, it's a
Yep.
reasonable reason to try to get rid of him. But we can't just throw every asshole out the league because then there'd be nobody else. There'd be nobody left.
I've been gone a long
There's
time.
asshole.
Well, I'm an
Yeah,
asshole too, but I still get
this
along
league
with my
would've crashed
teammates.
forever.
No,
saying-
there's a line though between being an asshole and completely unbearable. And
No,
and
I
you don't want
understand
those
that. And
unbearable
I
people
agree.
in the league. But if he can,
I agree with you.
giving him
but
this chance.
You can't just go around blacklist somebody that you don't like or you don't have chemistry with. Or whatever. I mean, you can blacklist them, but the success rate of that blacklist is going to be extremely low.
Well, if he
especially
can,
when you don't really have proof of it.
yeah, well, Sourcey
You know
can
what I mean?
swallow
So-
his pride and just say, "Look, I just want to play with a good squad. This is about the best squad he's going to get to play with. I mean, he's in a good
Absolutely.
spot."
And we're chill, man. We're real chill dudes. Like we don't have one attitude issue on the team, exempting him. Because I've talked to
Well,
dude one time and he seemed chill with me.
Yeah, well, you need to
So
be
I don't
careful with
know.
that Mags guy.
But-
He's kind of a dickhead. Moving on to number 1, Golden State Warriors. I have them at number 1. We have them at number 1. Now, it was an argument. Did we put Cleveland there? Did we put Golden State? Blah, 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 whatever. But it is Golden State.
Hey, originally I put Golden State at number 1.
Yes, we did. And then we fought back and forth a little bit. I wanted to move 2 to 3 and 3
I
to 2.
put Golden State at number 1.
You did.
And I put you at number 2.
I
and then we
did,
went back.
and then I pulled you back because, first of all, I am Beastie at 500K, Dan the Man at 500K, Farrah Fuego at 500K, Shump, of course, owner. King Woody is already sent down at 500K, but he got sent back down to training camp. We'll talk about that in a minute. Illmatic Titan at 500K, Dat Boy shots at 5 mil. That's your big bank right there. Swizzerk at 1.5. Of course, he was a bring over from last season. I don't blame you there. He's absolutely worth the money. Euro Step at 2 mil. Precision at 500K. Fallout Factor TC. I don't even know who that is. And Planet Hood at 500K. I don't even know who that is. So there's a couple guys I was told from a source, and you probably know who this source was, that a lot of these guys are Pro-Am guys that will quit if they don't dominate every single game. Like, if they get beat once, they might be walking out. Now, I don't know that to be true. I was just told that from somebody. If that's the case, of course, that moves you down on my preseason power rankings. However, what puts you there, Shump, is you have Fuego at 500K. I don't even know how that happened. Don't even know how you got 500K for Fuego. He's well worth $1.5 million. I think he's as good or better than Mags at 2.5. Again, attitudes, chills, whatever. But Fuego, he can play, and he gets frustrated when he loses like anybody else. Dan the Man, I think that's a steal at 500K. I think he's a little better than that.
I actually got him as my first TC.
Yeah. So you moved Dan the Man, you pulled him TC and pulled him up. That's a steal at TC, even though I think you had the last pick in TC. Yep. I am Beastie at 500K. I think that's a good guy to have. He's going to show up. As long as he doesn't have any health issues, he's a solid player that's going to do work. Illmatic Titan at 500K, I think, is a great steal. Swizzerk, of course, bring him over. That's an easy. So my question marks are more of these guys that I don't know. The Fallout Factor 1, the Precision, the Euro Step, who seems to already be claiming that he's going to be the best in the league. Planet Hood. You've got a lot of, how do I say, I don't want to say dickheadedness, but you got a lot of pride. I want to say pride on the team. You got a lot of pride, Pro-Am. It's hard to keep.
Frowned upon.
You got a lot of pride on the team, and it's hard to keep those guys, but they're not on a show either. So, but you got a lot of prideful guys on the team, and if they slip up one game, it could be disaster. I mean, what are your thoughts about that? Because I want to know. I want to go to you first, even though I should go to Texas. I want to know the question to that.
Well,
I know
Precision. I've known him for a very long time. He's a Pro-Am guy. Planet Hood. He's a Pro-Am, and Fallout is a Pro-Am. Fallout, he's one of my dudes. I mess around and play some Pro-Am games with him every now and then, like walk-on games, things like that. He's a real chill dude. He won't quit. He plays team up a lot. He's a really good Pro-Am player. Planet Hood, he was on my Road to the Finals team. He was the point guard on our Road to the Finals team last year, actually. He used to be Hood Thoughts is what his name was.
So he's going to ball out on that second line just fine.
Yeah, he's up there as people on Twitter and our Pro-Am chats things. They think he's one of the best scorers in Pro-Am right now. So I mean, he's gonna be on KD and he's gonna do his thing. So I'm not worried. I mean, honestly, if I wouldn't got them and they went to, for instance, the Celtics, I could see the dudes that I have on my team possibly quitting after a few games. But who's, like, not just being honest, who's going to quit on the Warriors? Like, the Warriors is the most fun team to play with.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I got blessed to have the Warriors. And they're not going to quit on the Warriors.
Well, some would say you got gifted, almost like Crow did last season to have the Warriors. Who the hell would trade the number 1 pick for the number 10th pick?
You know what it came down to? You know what they said in the chat, Ice? They said it's either let Shump get his team or let Shump get the Warriors. That's what they said in the chat. So it's
I would
it's either I get all the cap and get the bid whoever I have with the Spurs
you didn't even use the cap. You're at what, 14 mil for that team? You still got like 3.5 mil.
I got 2.5 left. Yeah.
2.5. My fault.
That's what I'm saying, man. I really. That's what I was telling you before we started. I really messed up pre-bid, like when I accidentally bet on that Woody, trying to bet on the other Woody to give him a shot, and I pre-did Illmatic. Illmatic's a good player though, so I'm not mad about that.
Yeah, Illmatic's great for 500.
I already got a dude that already told me he doesn't want to play unless he's on Revolve's team. So I got good TC players too, so I'm not mad about that.
Blacklist him, bro.
You seen it last year, James. I had one weekend I blacklist somebody. I'll be your friend and all, but I signed you for a reason.
Well, you send him down, so he can be picked up by his buddy if he wants, right?
Yeah, I'll give him a chance to. I even offered Revolves. I was like, Revolves, just send me a 500K player. You can have him if he wants to play for you. You can move him up. You want to use him as TC, and Revolves, he didn't have no room, so I sent him down. So Dan's active. I'm remembering from last year
Yep,
I
he's
think
an
he played
active
Kevin
guy,
Love
and
last
he's
year. I
solid.
think
He's solid at
and
500K.
he's not a
Yeah,
bad player.
solid player.
And so I don't. None of those dudes are gonna quit on me.
Now,
So
I'm going to go to
I'm
give
not worried
Texas
about that
James.
at all.
Give Texas James a shot here because I skipped him twice back to back on purpose. 11-5. Didn't use his full roster at 14. If he runs through and wins this season with a pretty much 500K majority, but he's got a few guys in here, popping up. That boy Shots is the only one he spent dollars on, which is, I imagine that boy Shots is going to be the point guard on one side and Shump's going to be the point guard on the other. So that's going to be scary both sides. Do you feel that this team, I mean, by looking at this roster, you think it's another Spurs 500K, or they're going to be blowing out everybody in the West hands down?
Well, first of all, the Spurs 500K was actually 500K.
Yeah, I know it's not
list.
exact comparison, but 11-5. I mean, yes, the Golden State. I don't know if he's trying to compete with Crows. I think lowest salary ever to win a championship mentality, but 11-5 is damn low for starting out bidding.
Well, this comes down to one of those things, man. I mean, you get what you need, not who's the best. He went out and he got Beastie, a good JaVale McGee. I'm assuming that's where he's going to play.
Yep.
He went out and got Elmatic. I mean, obviously it wasn't on purpose, but Elmatic's a good shooter. He's a good corner specialist. He's gonna post up for you. He's gonna make his shots. You get him. I mean, he wanted Woody. Okay, that would have been a good 500K player as well. But obviously, Dan the man, he's another good guy that's gonna come in and do what you need. Ferran Fuego, he got for 500K. You go get what you need and what you're gonna use, not what's out there available, and that's what he did. Went out and paid money for the guys that he wanted. And that's exactly what you want to do in bidding. Now, I was doing a preseason power rankings. I was typing it up, and I kind of gave up my halfway because I just got tired of typing and shit and didn't want to do the rest of it. But I did have you at number 1 with the Golden State, and my only thing was like, you're a first time owner and a little inexperienced. What's gonna happen with all that? But obviously, you got good guys. You obviously made an inexperienced move on, bidding on King Woody, whatever.
Yeah.
It happens. Well, it really doesn't happen. You're really the only one that fucked up. But so moving on beyond that, though, you got a great team. You're deserving at number 1 with Golden State, obviously. Regardless of what joking around with Cleveland or whatever, but I did put you at number 1. So there's no reason you should not go to the ship this year and, possibly lose, but you should definitely be there regardless of who you play against, although I'm pretty sure you know who you're going to play against, but regardless of who you play against,
hey, I'm going to be there.
Definitely be
all
there.
matters.
You should definitely be there.
So you got the first 5 games. You got Toronto Raptors, Pacers, Cavaliers, Thunders, and Grizzlies. I mean, of course, you see yourself at 5-0.
He has a roster to do it.
But I mean, you've got a team in there. I think the Raptors will give you a little bit of a headache, and I believe the Cavaliers will give you a headache. And I wouldn't put the Grizzlies past. I mean, if they can mesh quicker than later, of course, quicker in the season than later in the season, the Grizz are going to be scary. So, they're actually after that head of yours because. It's been said around the league that anybody can win with Golden State. And you got kind of gifted Golden State. You didn't get all your boys, but you did get some guys kind of, I hate to say snuck in, but they did under the radar of everybody else.
Hey, Carroll better never lose to Golden State because what he talks about is Golden State's just another team. He can win with anybody.
That's why I'm playing against Memphis on Monday night, buddy.
That's
why I'm playing. I just hope he's in that game on Monday night. I hope he's on Monday night.
You've got everything going with you, so we wish you the best this season. I mean, you got a lot of things going your way. I hope you fail miserably because I'm in the West. But other than that, I mean, I do hope the best out of you. I do want to talk very quickly because we're running out of time, but that was it for that. Let's talk very quickly. I'm going to go in here and look at the preseason MVP predictions, only because it's a little early to be talking about MVP, but it's about who's got the right spot where. And I think there's a couple key people that have the right players that could be very scary this season and could be arguably up for the MVP race. I mean, you, Shump, since we're right here on you, Golden State, you average right now about 17.85 points per game in your career, but you, other than last year with Lowry, you didn't really have. I know with the Kings, you were more of a cut dash, and that wasn't really your
Yep.
play style when Way played. I know you were frustrated a little bit, and you kind of were. Yeah, JT had Fab, other guys that on the team that were strong players that you weren't really able to shine, I guess, or say. But I mean, this is really your season from beginning to end because you did get moved from DeRozan to Lowry later because we needed a Lowry. I remember I was there last year in Toronto. So this year is, if you want an MVP, do you feel this is your year to get it? You're in the best position to get it.
I definitely do, and I obviously think I'm going to have a good shot at it, just because I know, just from playing last year, I put up great numbers playing with, by the side of Swizz. Swizz kind of lets me do my thing, and obviously I feed him as well. The only thing is, I mean, I got, as I said, I think I got a really good team, and I'm going to have really good people around me that will also take up, like, for instance, take, for example, Fab or JT, if they're on the Stars, like, it's not too many people around them that are known scorers or can score the ball around them necessarily. Obviously, everybody can score the ball, but just to like take over a game, I got some of those dudes on my roster this year that will be able to do that if, for instance, if I'm struggling, things like that. So I'm not going to have much. Like, obviously, I'm in a good place, just like Shots is, just like my KDs are. We're in a good place to definitely have a chance to win it. But I'm more focused on winning a ring than I am winning MVP.
Where's Swizzard playing at?
He's going to be on my KD.
He's going to be damn scary on KD.
Yep, he's going to be on my KD.
Yeah, if he can take over a game if you let him. Also,
Yep.
You got a lot of guys and a lot of stars on that team. It's going to be really hard for you to win.
Exactly, it's a lot more opportunity for everybody else to.
Yeah, I mean, you got ways to share the
necessarily
ball.
like last year, 2 stars. Yeah, exactly. I don't have to have the whole load on my shoulders.
Swizzer's definitely gonna be a savage. I put him on the MVP race as well, just because knowing what he did in Toronto, he definitely deserves a spot on this list. To be predicted to be in the race after what he did with a less caliber player than with Durant, and now he actually gets Durant. It's going to be something to watch.
He's going to be damn scary, I think, Swizzerk. And then you've got a couple other guys I think that could really step out and be, or MVP, give you a run.
Don't be surprised if Hood and Shots definitely aren't.
You're not my favorite for winning an MVP. You're not even my favorite to winning Coach of the Year because you have Golden State.
I wrote on that.
There's a rule that if you have Golden State, you can't become Coach of the Year. So I think there's a rule somewhere in the EBA.
Fine.
So, but you will probably get a ring. I mean, it's a possibility. The number 2, you have Fab, averaging 24.3 a game. I would say, and this is being a little biased here, and yes, I'm being biased towards my team, but Fab's favorite player in 2K is probably Lillard, probably the best point guard, arguably second or first best point guard in the game. Fab's a point guard. So everything fits him perfectly. If he can get the guys around him to play the parts they need to play, I don't see Fab. You can double, you can triple, it doesn't matter. Then he's gonna lead in assists because he's gonna pass to somebody and we're gonna score all day long. So for me, the favorite out of this is either Fab or Mike Mann, hands down. And again, Mike Mann I think suffers the same mentality, but we'll get to him in a minute as Shump does, where he's got good position around him that he's going to be struggling to get his averages. But Fab easily for me, and call it biased or not, but that's my favorite for that pick. Any comments?
As long as he doesn't end up playing for his, as long as he doesn't end up playing for a season 5 team, as long as he stays away from that, then we can definitely put Fab as the front runner in that category.
I even read it on that.
He doesn't end up playing for a season 5 team. Oh, you mean traded to New York?
No, you look at the season 5 team on the list, man. Put him on the Quittsville Quitters, man.
Oh, gotcha. Quittsville Quitters. Gotcha. I didn't totally missed it.
Quittsville Quitters, man.
He'll be there. Yeah. Lillard's too fun, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. He's got guys like me and Eastern around that will be like, Fab, don't do that. That's stupid as fuck. Because I'd call him out right away. I mean, he's going to have a bad game, I'm sure. He's going to have a game where I'm shooting like crap, Eastern's not carrying, and he's getting triple-double teamed, and we can't pull him out of it. And we're going to have games like that. I know the season's long enough. I know that's going to happen. And Fab's going to feel like, I can't even win with them. Quit. And Fab, just calm down. You got this. Don't get upset. I mean, he has guys there that are going to cool him down. I don't think he had that in New York. if I was in New York with him, and I'm not giving him any kind of props or anything, I would have said, dude, why bother? Like, don't. If I wish he would have contacted me before he quit. I was like, dude, you're coming to over here. Don't like quit yet. You're coming to us. Just chill.
Yep.
Because
That
Fab's one of
was
the
more of
guys.
an owner thing to put him in that situation.
Yep, and then it will be.
That's
And
all that was.
Evidence is more relaxed, I think, than Jay Snyder. He doesn't have an attitude, and I don't think
Fab
Evidence is
told me
going
he's
to
got the
quit.
keys.
Yeah.
Fab told me he's got the keys. So
I
he
think
should
he'll be
good.
fine. It's just, and all you need is one line to win. So it's really, I mean, I'm scared with A.O. Mark in training camp that he's going to come up and take my spot because, I'm just nervous. I haven't played that much with Crab. Also, there's a couple other guys at that 3 spot that I like. So I've got to figure out my role within that system as well. But moving on, Mike Man 117, Cleveland Cavaliers. He is another favorite, I would say, to win it. And the reason why I would say he is to win it is because he's just going to ball out. I mean, I played against Irving the other night, and Irving was making things I couldn't, like mid-ranges from everywhere on the court. There was not a cold spot with this guy. And I can't even remember who was playing him, but he was tearing it up. So, and he was sharing the ball well. The only thing I can see here with Mike, man, it might pull him back a bit. Now, he was in the MVP running last season, is he's got more, I think, talented people around him that, as in like LeBron, now Kyle Korver,
And
now,
that's
go ahead.
for me that's gonna be a thing that helps Mike, because I mean we've played games already. Obviously, me and this squad has been around for a while, but I play games with Mike. Well, I mean, with being 100% serious, not biased or anything. Mike, he's doing better because we got another guy that can actually play. That could take some heat off of Kyrie and take some heat off of him. Like last season, the game plan was always, you shut down Lillard, you beat the Trailblazers. This season, you can't do that. You can't just shut down Kyrie and expect to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shut down Kyrie, you got to shut down. So the defense is going to have to be spread out more, and I think that really puts Mike ahead of a lot of these other guys, is just because Mike likes to shoot. Obviously, Mike loves to shoot just like Fab, and he likes to get his points in, and he loves going for that 20 assists. He loves that shit. He can't help himself, man. He loves getting the 20 assist thing. That's like so cool to him, and it looks awesome.
Well, I think he's got the right pieces to help him get there. I don't think that, and he's
No,
also got
100%,
reliable guys that are
definitely.
going to show up and will also practice with him. I mean, Mags, if he's on, he'll always hop over. Those guys will always be there when he needs them. So I think that'll be strong for him. But I also, like I said, it could hurt him in the run as well. The same situation that we're gonna run into with Shump over in Golden State. But moving on, Space Jam JT, he was a pretty well lock for this race to me until I read later in the article that he wasn't going to be playing on Westbrook. And it's going to be very. I'm not saying he can't. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he cannot. But it's going to be very hard for him to average 10 to 15 points a game when these other point guards are going to be averaging 20 plus. And then after they realize they made a mistake and put him on point guard, to try to, now he's got to average 35, which is going to be very difficult for him to play that catch-up game. If they start him right out where he wants to be and they say JT, I mean, if I bid that much on a guy and I bring him in, and let's be honest, this is trainer's experiment, and I'm using air quotes, because first of all, you never think JT would go to a trainer team. Trainer, like I said, was probably bidding him up and accidentally got stuck with him, because nobody's like, okay, we're done.
Well,
but you pay that much, you got to give him what he wants, and you got to give the people. I don't care if he wants somebody from your line. You got to give him who he wants around him, and you got to give him who he wants in order to be successful. Because one line can win it all. JT's got to be in charge of that line. What are your thoughts?
Well, trainer said in the Twitch chat that JT wanted to play Oladipo. But what I'm saying is that I seen Trainer. We played against Trainer the other day, and then he was playing point guard. And without throwing any shade or being completely disrespectful, he looked pretty bad. But I mean, obviously, it's against another player on this list, Mike Man, and Mike Man can do that to a lot of like mid-tier point guards. I mean, obviously, almost anybody on this list can. So it's hard to cover a guy like Mike or Fab or any of them. So at point guard, so maybe that Trainer just needs to warm up or whatever it is if he's looking to play a Russ. But I don't see how you get, and we've said this in the power rankings, pay that much money for JT and put him on Oladipo. Maybe he just wants to play with dimes, if the case is that he actually wants to play with Oladipo. But there's just no way, man. There's no way he doesn't play Russell. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. Chairs just typed in the Twitch chat talking about
he's gonna be on Russ.
Most def running Russ. I don't know what you saying, buddy, but What I'm saying, buddy, is many sources have told us that he's playing Oladipo. So I don't know what you're talking about. If
He
maybe
better play
somebody
Russ.
knows
If he's playing
or
Russ,
something in
then
the
he's in this
organization. Yeah,
conversation.
absolutely.
He's in this conversation, easy.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. He's a front runner.
So what are your thoughts, Shump? I know you had some comments you were making there. Is it the same thing we were talking about, or something you want to throw in?
If he plays Russ, him and Fab are back and forth for MVP this year. I'm just gonna put that up there. JT he's the dude that does it. He does it all, man. He plays defense. He'll get steals. He's got the best player to do all around stats with at the point guard position. Meaning that he's gonna grab rebounds. He's gonna get assists. He's definitely gonna score. So if he's definitely on Russ, which I'm assuming he will be, as far as I know, talking to him recently, I think they made the change where he's going to be. I think he didn't want to play it at first because trainers, guys, doesn't like to spread out necessarily.
Yes.
And having a Russell Westbrook with a clogged paint isn't too good.
JT, Fab,
So
and
I
you
think
run
that
a
was gonna
different
frustrate
system
him.
than most people run.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at like Crow and his team, the way they run certain things, even on defensive side, it's a different mentality
Yeah.
than what you guys run.
Yeah,
I kind of
definitely.
was brought in under your, so when I go, I hit the corner monkey or whatever they want to call it. I spread the floor as much as possible because it opens up so many good cutting lanes and it opens up the floor. So
Exactly.
I agree with what you're saying. If they can follow follow JT's lead, I think if they could play JT style basketball, JT is easy hands down, right in competition to where we might have another
Yep,
split MVP again
definitely.
this year. I mean, that's how I
I'm
feel.
saying, I mean, he could be a walk-in with Russell Westbrook. He could be a walk-in triple-double. Honestly,
yeah.
like there's no BS about it at all. Like, and plus JT's one of the best defenders on 2K that at least that I played with and know. So he's always going to get a steal. So his stats are definitely going to be up if he's on Westbrook.
You
And
knew going in.
Dimes will be up there too.
Yeah, I
Dimes will
agree.
be up there
I
as
think
well.
Dimes will be up there. Now, going into the bidding, you knew weren't going to get JT or Fab, right? I mean, you knew that wasn't even a possibility.
I won't lie. I bid at JT all the way till 5.5, right around where I got shots at. Because I told JT when we were talking, I was like, sign up. I'll do my best to get you. But once he went up to like 6, he just kind of messed with me. He's like, hey man, I understand, and we were just talking, and I mean he understood, and hopefully the season goes good. He doesn't quit or anything like that, which I'm sure he won't. And then next year we can link up.
Yeah. Well, Swizzerk is the number 5 on this list of Golden State Warriors, and I didn't even realize he was on the list. We were talking about him earlier, so he kind of already went. He had a Rookie of the Year season, which was highly his season. I think it took him a little while to get on, get comfortable with the team. But by now, how many games he's played? Because I know he's not really a team up player. So it was last year was his first year. By now, I think he's got the comfort zone kind of off of his shoulders, and I think he's going to ball out heavy. I think I think your majority of your assists will probably come from Swizz.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So if he can finish, which I'm sure he could, I mean, he's up in he's in talking with this race. Of course, that will pull from yours, but I mean, you can never know.
It's all good as long as we win, like I said.
And you can't leave out King G Money you got in here, but G Money, I don't think he has as good of player. And I know you're like, oh, DeAndre is the best big in the. I agree, but the way that G Money plays and he's strong, he's arguably one of the best. Of course, he is returning MVP.
Yep.
I don't think it's the same mentality as Cat. Like Cat is
outside in anything you want to do, bring the ball up, anything.
Can't do that with DeAndre. If maybe when the other guy comes back, he can go at the 4 with Jordan.
Blake would be more of his style.
Blake Blake would be more of his style because Blake can shoot and also dunk and make you look stupid underneath. So that's definitely. So I'm a little concerned with him there only because of the position that he's playing. Now he could pull down 20 rebounds a game and completely prove me wrong, which I'm sure he will. But I'm a little nervous with him repeating as MVP where he's playing at if he stays there. I agree with all your others in the hunts there, Texas, the Realist, the Real Uncle Drew, Too Cool. What are some other guys, Shump? Give me 2 guys from going over all the lists. Give me 2 guys that aren't in here, and I know Dimes was one of them, but give me 2, Shump, on your list that could say these guys could be MVP quality.
That boy Shots, not just because he's on my team or on Curry, but he's definitely one of the best players in the league. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the rosters right now.
That's fine.
And I would say I would say let's get it, boy, but I don't think he can do that all with Marcus All. I would say Drew with Paul George. That would be my second one.
Yeah, I think if he could get him down, he could figure it out. What are two that you
It's
didn't
all,
include but
yep.
were in the back of your mind? I know you wrote the list, so it's kind of hard to tell you about, but what are two that you kind of looked over, you think that I probably overlooked those guys, Texas?
I think there's quite a few guys out there that can legit make a make a push for the MVP, but um man, if assists were worth more, maybe Majestic. You know,
Yep.
he's not a real scorer, but we don't really push for a lot of assists. Like our assists in this league, like we don't really look at that as a plus because all point guards almost like get assists. So it's really not weighed as much in the MVP race. But let me flip through here and look. Um, the problem is, man, like a lot of the guys that are on the Celtics could have had a shot at being on this list right now, but it's just looking at them, looking at being the Celtics, that could definitely hold them back. Another guy, C-Pain. C-Pain can definitely be on that list if he takes over Lillard and plays. If he takes over Lillard and plays, he can definitely be on the list.
Yeah.
What you think? What you thinking, Shump?
Nah. I was just gonna say, I like C-Pain as a player, but God, I've witnessed what he did, and like we only lost one game that last week and me playing with Kyle Lowry all year. I mean, I know Kyle Lowry's glitchy, and I just seen him shoot 1 for 11 in one of those games, and I was just like, yikes. But I mean, obviously,
I've
Lillard's a
had him in
different player.
LeBron before.
Yeah,
I've had him
yeah,
on
yeah.
LeBron before, and
Yeah, he's definitely a
been
good
great.
player.
I mean, that's I'm just trying to think outside the box of
Yeah.
some guys that could
Yeah.
show up and
Well,
and do great
Corrupted
things.
could be one. I'll just put
yeah,
that out
Corrupt.
there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Corrupted,
Could
yes.
definitely be one.
I'm telling you right
Corrupted,
now,
He'd definitely be up there.
if Fab doesn't win it and JT isn't getting where he needs to get, and let's get it, boy, the normal named guys that we named, the sleepers, I think under, and you heard it here, 1 million and under will be in that race. One of these 1 million and under guys will be in that race for MVP. And you're probably thinking, well, who? There's a lot of guys that have something to prove. Some of these new Pro-Am guys that we have never heard of, and there's some guys in there that if they get in the right position and dominate, if it's not one of the names we've said, those are my sleepers, and I'm just going to blanket it. 1 million and under, we'll be talking about somebody in the MVP race that's going for 1 million and under. I guarantee it.
That's the thing that's good with Shump. Is like Shump's coming from Pro-Am with a lot of his guys, bringing some Pro-Am guys in here with him, and it has to be the easiest to convert from Pro-Am to Golden State. That has to be the most Pro-Am close.
Blessed. That's what I said. I'm blessed.
Yeah. It has to be the closest to a Pro-Am created team that's out there. I mean, so you definitely got a hands up in that. So one of those guys that we don't know of. I don't know if there's any guys on your team that we don't know, but if there is,
Hood gonna be playing KD.
Hood. There you go.
I said under a mil. You heard it here on EBA.
500K. Yep.
So before we wrap it up, because we've already spent, like I said, I told you at the beginning, Shump, we do like an hour show. It ends up being 2 hours all the time because we get chatting, we get talking about it. I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you for wasting a couple hours with me. As always, the commish. Thank you for being part of the show as always. And
tune in next week.
We're going to get that jersey off of you and put your media cap on before the end of the year. That's my goal.
It's not.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
My team is good.
They are good, but you have to have. I think my team's. I honestly feel, believe it or not, at first when I heard Evidence had me, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, fuck, it's one of those years. Because I thought as I told you in the preseason, I thought I was going 500K. I thought I was on Golden State, and I was like, all I do is I'm going to be the guy that sits in the corner, waits till he's open, and jack a shot. I mean, that's my game plan. That sounds perfect. And in this, it's a little different because it's still Fab, and I know how he plays, so that's good that we're going to be able to do some of the old things that we used to put together and get some defense out there as long as the other guys. But it's meshing those other pieces in. And I was a little nervous that I didn't know, of course, at that time Fab was on the team. I was a little nervous at the squad we're putting together. I was like, and he's like, Evidence, like, calm down, trust me, it's going to be fine. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to freak out. But now, I'm looking at my squad. It takes one strong line, and I think our one line can compete with just about anybody. Yeah, we've got weak spots, but you can't sleep on anybody on Trailblazers because this game is a jack game, just like you can't sleep on anybody on Golden State. It's a jack game, and if they're open, they're more likely to sink it. So it's going to be very scary to see how some of these teams team up, and I'm excited to get Season 6 on the way. I mean, you guys got to be excited, right?
Oh, 100%.
I'm ready.
So this is the beginning of the show. I'm ready to get this shit going, man. I'm ready. I wish Sunday was today. I wish I could start this shit up and play a regular season right now.
I'm really excited to see how Cleveland does because, like I said, before the end of I'm gonna humble you before the end of the season. I swear we're gonna take that jersey off and you're gonna be looking at it differently. So
the only way you can humble me is if I don't make the playoffs, but that ain't gonna happen because my squad is too great.
I think the East, you got that pretty well. You're the team to beat in the East. Well, of course you knew that going in. I mean, you simulate 100%. With Cleveland. You're the team to beat going into the East without having anybody on his roster. But he does have some good spots. So moving on, appreciate everybody for spending a couple hours with me tonight. Whoever's listening, you guys, you make the EBA what it is. Appreciate you guys. From all of us here at EBA Live, or EBA Tonight, we appreciate you guys tuning in and listening, and tune in next week because we'll have actually week 1 statistics to go over and see how jacked up our preseason rankings were, right?
Can I make a shout out?
Shout outs, go ahead.
I wanna shout out to all my fans that love me and help me be where I'm at the commissioner spot. I know the league is growing slowly, but I appreciate all you new guys signing up. Shump, I appreciate you going to get new guys, and Miz and all y'all guys that work to get these new guys in here. I really appreciate that. We can always use more, so don't stop. We can always get bigger.
I'd like to go 15 teams sometime soon. That'd be kind of nice.
Right. I remember when we was in the VFL back in the day, we had like 16 or some shit one season. Man.
Yeah, but it's a lot less per team. We could do that with the numbers we have now, but because it's only 3 per team.
Like, it's so much funner having a lot more teams. I'd like to get more owners. Keep it at a 2-line season. That would be great. We need to grow. So I'm hoping that any of y'all pro-am guys that listen to this, y'all got boys that want to play, get them in here, man. Let them know that this is a legit ass site, man. This is legit. We're here. We do this shit. Me and Ice are here every week doing this, trying to give some media on the output every week. So please get out there and get your boys in here. We can always use more numbers.
Shump, anything you want to say before we close?
I want to give a shout out to Remix for letting me have a chance to play with the Warriors.
Remix, you were the real MVP. Remix, you're the real MVP.
Thank you.
So no matter when Shump wins this year, the MVP, he'll hand it over to you. Yeah. Well, I mean, going from first, talk about a gift. I mean, good Lord, I don't know. Right? I want to check. I want to check Remix's. Yeah, no shit. I want to check Remix's account and see how much was in it. Yeah, see how much you sent him to make that trade happen. But as always, we appreciate everybody for listening, tuning in. Also, EHL guys, if you like hockey, go sign up. We're like 6 away from starting a season. It's only gonna be 1 line per team, but 8 teams. We're gonna roll. Going to be nice. So we're like 6 guys away from pushing the season forward. I think we got enough owners. If you want to be owners, we're looking.
EBA schedule.
It won't mess up with your EBA schedule. It goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday's the only day that it'll go have problems. So I think it's Thursday. You will affect my show, but you can always tune in while you're playing hockey. So snap me on the side with this whole Xbox Snap Twitch.
I don't think that works like that. I don't think you can snap Twitch like that.
Can't snap Twitch? I think you can. I think you can snap Twitch.
I think you can only snap at the broadcast. Yeah.
Oh, that dirty horse. All right, so sign up for EHL. Get you guys keep signing up for the league. I'm excited for season 6, and we're on our way. Let's go.
Bless you all. Good night. Estimation on the
That's what I'm aiming for, bro. But you know, if it was Curry alone, I could probably average more. Yeah. If it was Curry alone, I mean, for instance, Curry was on the Blazers, and it's like Curry is way different. Like having the people, the players around me, like you know, I can't go out and chuck as much this year. I can't be as big as Chuck. Plus, JT came back. So I can't do that.
But don't you have to chump because you're chump or because you're you know who you are?
Because you're show.
Because you're chump? No.
Exactly. Nah, yeah. I played games and I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, I think the least amount of shots I've shot when I was on Curry is 23. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had when I showed up when we were playing a regular game and I had 48 in the first half on LJ when he was on that little scrub. Yeah. Curry's a freak for sure. Don't let him get that red ring. It's all it'll be a dream.